Hi students, welcome back to today's class. Now we are going to continue the topic that is threats to digital properties. So what are the threats we are facing for our digital properties? First one, digital penetration tools, software penetration tools that we have discussed. So because of what cracking tools and key generation tools which are created by the hackers, they will be penetrating your software registration system and they'll be enabling unauthorized users to freely access our software without actually paying for it. Okay. And second kind of threat is for digital properties, stealing and plagiarizing codes of your digital properties. Sometimes the other developers somehow they get hold of your software source code. So somehow they'll be coming to know your software source code. That is other developers, and then they create plagiarized versions of your code and use it in their own software. So they'll be stealing your codes and they'll be making use in their software, and they'll be making one new versions for their software. And in other words, they steal your software source code and use it to build their own versions of it and then sell it under their own company name. So like that also will happen. This is also a kind of threat for your digital property, that is mainly for the software creation. Okay, next is digital property rights, how we can protect it. Okay, so as there are many multiple types of threats to digital properties, there are many ways you can ensure protection of your digital properties. So you can safeguard your digital properties. So let us talk about these protective measures. First one is anti-tamper solutions. So anti-tamper solutions means what? So which makes it harder for an attacker to modify it. So you need to get the tamper proof for your software digital property so that they cannot able to modify it. Okay, so there are many anti-tamper solutions available today which ensures that your digital property is tamper proof. Okay. Uh, these anti-tamper solutions use a host of advanced technologies to prevent hackers from hacking, reverse engineering, or manipulating your digital properties such as utility tools, software apps, video games, and so forth. Okay, so they cannot change these software apps and video games and all. So the from them it is protecting, so preventing from the hackers. Okay, it's preventing the hackers in order to hack those kind of software apps and video games which are generated by us. Okay, so they cannot do any kind of modification because of this tamper proof solutions. Okay, next is legal classes. Okay, so you need to add a legal class, legal document you should add. Okay, in the classes of your of use of your software or digital properties. So whenever they are using your software or digital property, you need to mention one statement, that is legal statement. You must include a transparent clause in your software terms of service that prohibits, that avoids, okay, that prevents the scrapping of your software source code for reuse. Okay, they cannot make use of your software source code like that. You need to make a legal class, or you need to add a legal class statement or legal document in your software source code, so they cannot able to reuse it. So this is a sound legal backup for you. Okay, next is limit the sharing of software code. You should not share your software code for all the persons. Okay, you should share your software code only with the trusted individuals who are part of your development team. You should not leak your software codes to others. And you should also use a digital rights management DRM solution to protect your software from being scrapped for source code using decompilers. Okay, and next is open source philosophy and software licenses. So broadly, the term open source software, it is used to refer to those categories of software or programs whose licenses do not impose much conditions. So that will not give much conditions. For that kind of software is only known as open source software. Okay, uh, gives users freedom to run or use the software for any purpose. So they can able to use the software for any purpose, they can able to run it. Okay, like that the freedom is provided in the open source software. And to study or modify the program and to redistribute the copies of either the original or modified program without having to pay the royalties to the previous developers. Okay, without legally royalty means what? Legal binding payment. Okay, so we no need to pay the payment for using the open source software. So like that, the open source software is giving freedom for the persons who are using it and studying it, they can able to modify the program also. They can redistribute the copies to the other persons also without giving any payment, without paying any payment to the previous developers. So that is a kind of a freedom is provided in the open source software. And there are many categories of software that may be referred to as open source software. Okay, so many categories of softwares are there under the open source software. Open source, that means source code is freely available. Okay, so following subsection is going to talk about the same. That is, first one is terminology. Before we talk about various terms and definitions pertaining to the word open world, you must be clear about two terms which are often misunderstood and misinterpreted. Okay, so it can be misunderstood and misinterpreted. The two terms are free software and open source software. So what is free software? No payments are needed to be made for the free software, but a open source software, some kind of that is partial payments, at least some for some softwares we need to pay it. Okay, so that is the difference. So free software means the software is freely accessible and can be freely used, changed and improved and copied, distributed by all who wish to do. Okay, and no payments are needed to be made for the free software. Free software means fully it is free without payment. The definition of free software is published by Richard Stallman's Free Software Foundation. Here is the key text of the definition. Okay, Free Software Foundation. It is available in this website. Okay. Free software is a matter of liberty, not a price. Okay. So to understand the concept, you should think of free as in a free speech, not as a free beer. So free software is a matter of the user's freedom to run, copy, distribute, study, change, improve the software. More precisely, it refers to four kinds of freedom. That is, what kind of freedoms are provided for the users in order to use this free software means the freedom to run the program. That is for first reason. Okay, the freedom to run the program. And the second one is freedom to study how the program works. So you can study how the users can study how the program works also. That is also another freedom which is given, another freedom which is given for the users. And they can access to the source code is a precondition for this. So they can also access the source code. And the freedom to redistribute the copies, so you can help your neighbor, so you can redistribute the copies to the other persons, that is neighboring persons. That is also another freedom. And you can improve that program, that is you can create the new versions of the program and you can release your improvements to the public so that the whole community benefits. Access to the source code is precondition for this. Okay, a program is a free software if users have all of these freedoms. So when we will say the software is a free software, or when a program is a true free software, when we have the above said freedoms, we can easily we can run without any payment, and we can study how the program works, and we can redistribute the copies to the neighbors, and we can create the improvements in the existing software. Okay, so these are all the some of the freedoms in the free software. Then what is open source software means? On the other hand, it can be freely used, okay, in terms of making modifications, constructing business models around the software and so on, but it does not have to be free of charge. Okay, it does not need to be free of charge. Okay, here the company constructing the business models around open source software may receive some payments concerning support related payments, and further development related payments they may get. So what is important to know here is that open source software, the source code is freely available to the customer. So somewhat amount for support or for development works, no, we need to pay some amount, but the source code is freely available to the customer. Okay. So philosophy of open source. Open source software is officially defined by the open source definition at this website, that is www.opensource.org. It is officially defined in this website. And what it states, open source definition, what it states that it does not just mean access to the source code. The distribution terms of open source software must comply with the following criteria. That is free redistribution. That means no restrictions on the redistribution of the software, whether as a whole or in a part. So redistribution is freely available in the open source. And the second thing is source code. The program must include source code and must allow distribution in the source code as well as in the compiled form also. The source code should be available. That is the second statement is there. And derived works, the license must allow the modifications and derived works and must allow them to distributed under the same terms as the license of the original software. So if they are creating any modifications in the software, that can be distributed in the same term as the license of the original software. Then integrity of the author's source code. Integrity means what? The state of being whole and undivided. So without modifying, without dividing the source code, the integrity of the author should be maintained. The integrity of the source code must be maintained. Any additions or modifications should carry a different name only. So it should not change the old creator's name, and his fame and all should not get spoiled. Okay, so like that, you need to maintain the integrity. Whenever you do modifications, that should be created, that modified software, no, that new version software must be created in your name, okay, with a different name or different version number from the original software. Okay, if you are making some modifications in the original software's name should not get changed. Okay, version number you can give as the new one if you are doing modifications in the existing software, that is original software. And next one is no discrimination against the person or groups. That means the license must not discriminate against any person or a group of persons. Okay, and next one is no discrimination against the fields of endeavor. The license must not restrict anyone from making use of the program in a specific field of endeavor. So that means that software can be used in all the places, from being in business or used for genetic research, like that. Any places the software can be used once if it is obtained by the customer, and it should not restrict the program from being used in the business or used for the genetic research. Okay, and distribution of license, the rights attached to the program must apply to all to whom the program is distributed. So whatever rights it is mentioned in the software, that should be applied to the all, even if it is redistributed to the other people, for them also it is going to be applied, only the rights is going to be applied. And license also, that is distributed only. Then license must not be specific to your product. There must not be any restrictions on the rights attached to the program. Okay, and there should not be a condition on the programs being part of a particular software distribution. Okay, so these are the things are there under the distribution terms, that is open source software must comply with the following criteria. It should follow the following criteria. All these things should be there in the open source software. And also the license must not restrict the other software. The license must not place restrictions on the other software that is distributed along with the licensed software. The license must not insist that all the other programs distributed on the same medium must be open source, like that. The restrictions should not be given for the other software. And license must be technology neutral. That means no provision of the license may be predicated on any individual technology or style of interface. Okay, the software which is free as well as open belongs to free and open source software. So simply if you are saying free software, that is freely available without cost. Open source software means source code is freely available to the customer, but some kind of amount need to be paid for the support and the development of the software. So that is known as open source software. Free and open source software means software which is free as well as open belongs to the category. Okay, that is known as free and open source software. So the terms free and open represents different emphasis on importance of freedom, that is free software, and technical progress, that is open source software. Technically, if the software want to be developed, or if it want to get new versions, new changes want to be there for the software, means that is known as open source, or technical progress will be there in the open source software. Next one is definitions. After understanding the difference between the terms free and open, let us now proceed to our discussion on terminology and definitions pertaining to the open source software. So, related to the open source software, what kind of terminologies and definitions are used? OSS and FLOSS. That is, OSS refers to open source software, which refers to software whose source code is available to the customers and it can be modified and redistributed without any limitation. And OSS may come free of cost or with the payment of nominal charges. So it can come either in the form of free of cost, or it can be used as a payment of nominal charges. Minimum charges we can pay it for the developers, may charge in the name of the development support of the software. So for the support, that is for maintenance, and for the development, they may charge some nominal amount. Okay, but FLOAS, it refers to what? Free, libre, and open source software. That is, or to free, libre, and open source software. The term FLOAS is used to refer to software which is both free software as well as open source software. So it will be combining a combination of both, that is free software and the open source software. Here the words libre means, that is a Spanish word, and libre means Portuguese word, means freedom. Libre and libre both meaning is freedom only. Okay, so that is free software. Next is GNU. It refers to GNUs, not Unix, not Unix. GNU's project emphasizes on freedom. So this also, it is highlighting on or focusing on freedom only. And the GNU project was initiated by Richard M. Stallman with an objective to create an operating system. With the time, GNU project expanded, and now it is not limited only to operating system. It offers a wide range of software, including application softwares are also apart from the system software, that is operating system. Okay, GNU projects now, initially it was focusing on what? Only creation of operating system with the free way. Okay, but now it is uh, expanded its work. Okay, the project was expanded, and it is giving a wide range of softwares, application softwares also. Next is FSF, Free Software Foundation. It is a non-profit organization. This is also one kind of organization created for the purpose of supporting free software movement. Okay, and Richard Stallman founded this FSF in 1985 to support the GNU project and GNU licenses. So in order to support the GNU projects and GNU licenses, Richard Stallman only founded this organization, foundation. Nowadays, it is also works on legal and structural issues for the free software community. Whatever issues are arising for that free software, no problems arise for free software, no, for that the legally and structural issues are going to be handled by this FSF, Free Software Foundation. Next is Open Source Initiative, OSI. It is an organization. This is an organization dedicated to cause of promoting open source software. And Bruce Perens and Eric Raman were the founders of this OSI, that was founded in February 1998. Okay. And OSI specifies the criteria for open source software and properly defines the terms and specifications of open source software. And open source does not just mean access to the source code. The distribution terms of open source software must comply with the open source definition by the OSI. Next is freeware. Freeware means, we already see that freeware, it is generally used to software which is available free of cost and which allows copying and further distribution but not modification, and whose source code is not available. That is only freeware. Till now we have seen free software only. Here freeware. Freeware, it is, it cannot allow modification, it will not allow modification, and whose source code is not available. Okay, free of cost we can get that software, we can copy it, we can distribute it, but which is not allowed in the freeware. We need to mention properly mention here, modification is not allowed, source code will not be available for the customer. So freeware should not be mistaken for open source software or free software. So freeware is distributed in binary form, that is ready to run form. It will be available without any licensing fee. In some examples, the right to use the software is limited to certain type of users. So in some cases, if you see, this freeware will be limited for the certain type of users. For example, for private and non-commercial purposes like that, they are segregating the softwares. Okay, freewares are segregated like private purposes and commercial purpose like that. They are segregating it, and they are giving some kind of rights. Okay, so one example is Microsoft Internet Explorer, which is made available as freeware. Because this source code is not available, we cannot see that source code also, and modification also cannot be done in the Microsoft Internet Explorer software, but it is available in a free way. Okay, then what is license means? Legally binding agreement only known as license. So W3C means what? World Wide Web. W3, so three W's, for that only they have given W3. So W3 means 3W, that is World Wide Web Consortium. This is also a kind of organization only for producing the software standards for World Wide Web. Okay. The W3 was created in October 1994 to lead the World Wide Web to its full potential by developing common protocols that promote its evolution and ensure its interoperability. That means many websites nowadays are running in order to search the kind of information from the websites, different websites. Protocols are going to be developed by this W3C consortium. So it is focusing on this developing of common protocols and making use of that entire websites, no web informations, no in a smooth way we can handle it, and interoperability is also supported here because of this W3C. Interoperability means what? So with the different kind of machines like mobile phones or from laptop or different machineries, through different computers, we can access to the internet information. So the World Wide Web Consortium describes itself as follows. Okay, exists to realize the full potential of the web. So that is full web content we can able to extract, or we can able to use it. Okay, so for that purpose only this World Wide Web Consortium is working. It is an industry consortium that seeks to promote standards for the evolution of the web and interoperability between the www products by producing specifications and reference software. So although industrial members fund W3C, it is vendor neutral and its products are freely available to all. Okay. And next one is proprietary software, that is we need to pay for that licensed software. Okay, this software neither open nor freely available. That means we cannot see the source code, also we cannot copy it, modify it, we can sell, we need to get the license for that. Okay, so it's not freely available also, so its use is regulated and further distribution and modification is either forbidden or requires special permission by the supplier or vendor. So we need to get the special permission in order to supply to the other person or in order to modify the software. Source code of a proprietary software is normally not available. So this is licensed software. We cannot copy it, we cannot sell it to others, okay, without the concern knowledge of the supplier, without the permission of the vendor. Okay, shareware is the software which is made available with the right to redistribute copies. We can redistribute the copies of shareware, but it is stipulated that if one intends to use the software often after a certain period of time, then a license fee should be paid. So this can be redistributed to other persons, but only for the certain period of time we can make use of this software in a free way. Then after trial time is over, mainly 1 month or 3 months time, they'll be giving the time to make use of that software, and afterwards we need to pay some amount. Okay, we need to pay the license fee for making use of that software. That is only known as shareware. So shareware is not the same thing as free and open source software, for two main reasons. The source code is not available here in the shareware, and modifications to the software is also not allowed. So that is, in that way, the shareware is different from the free and open source software. The objective of shareware is to make the software available to try for as many users as possible. That is attracting the user. It is attracting the customers first by giving the trial period. This is done in order to increase the prospective users. They will be paid to pay for the software. The software is distributed in binary form and often includes a built-in timed mechanism, which usually limits the functionality after a trial period of usually 1 to 3 months only. They'll be giving the trial period. After that, the software, whoever is using it, they need to pay for that software. Next one is copylefted software. So till now we have seen different types of softwares and its definitions. This is the last one. There is copylefted software. That means it is a free software whose distribution terms ensures that all copies of all versions carry more or less the same distribution terms. Okay. This means, for example, the copyleft licenses generally disallow others to add additional requirements to the software and require making the source code available. This shields the program and its modified versions from some of the common ways of making the program proprietary. Okay, so it is disallowing others to add the additional requirements. That is, modifications and all cannot be made in the copylefted software, and same terms they need to use. That is, more or less the same distribution terms need to be used for the all copies of the all versions. Okay, and next is licenses and domains of open source technology. As per open source initiative, okay, open source initiative, open source licenses are licenses that comply, that means that meets the specified standard with the open source definition. Okay. So in a brief, they allow the software to be freely used. Open source initiative, it is allowing the software to be freely used, modified and shared. So that is only the open source licenses means. Okay, are the licenses that meet the specified standard with the open source definition. That is, they allow the software to be freely used and freely modified and shared also. Open source licenses makes it easy for the others to contribute to your project without having to seek special permission. So any persons, if they want to contribute to the project, that is for the software, if they want to do any modifications, they no need to get the special permission from the already developed people. Okay, already who developed that software, no, from them they need no need to get the permission. It also protect you as the original creator, making sure you at least get some credit for your contribution. So whatever changes you are making in the software, you will get some kind of credit by using this, by making some modifications in the existing software. It also helps to prevent others from claiming your work as their own. So it is that also is prevented here. So others, they cannot claim that your work as their work. Okay. So broadly used open source licenses are being given below for your reference. Okay. Broadly, what kind of licenses are provided in the open source software, open source licenses? We will see one by one. That is CC licenses for the open source software. First license is Creative Commons licenses, that is CC licenses issued by Creative Commons organization, that is non-profit organizations, allow the creator of the work to select how they want others to use the work. Okay. And when the creator releases their work under the CC license, when one creator, for example, if you are a creator or if you are a modifier of one software, if you are modifying existing open source software, then if you are releasing your new version, then you can apply what you can get the license from Creative Commons organization that you have created, that you have contributed your work for the existing software. Like that, you can get the license for your new version. So when a creator releases their work under CC license, people only need to seek the creator's permission when they want to use the work in a way not permitted by the license. Okay. And standard rights and obligations of CC licenses. CC provides 6 core licenses, and each of which allow members of the public to use the material in different ways, but each of them includes certain standard rights and obligations as listed below. So CC licenses, what it gives permissions to the to copy, modify, distribute the original works by attributing the creator of the work. So by giving credit to the creator of the work only, we can do that, copy and distribute and modify all those things. Okay. User rights and all, what under CC licenses, and user obligations and all, what means. User rights: copy the work, download, upload, photocopy, scan the work. So this kind of copying, they can do it. Okay. Downloading of software, uploading and photocopying and scanning, all those things the user can do it. Obligations means always attribute the creator of the work. Whenever you are downloading, uploading, photocopying, scanning, always you need to attribute, that is give credit or acknowledge the creator. And next is distribute the work, sharing copies of the work. So get the permission from the creator to do anything that goes beyond the terms of the license, making a commercial use of the work. So according to the license terms, for how many users that can be distributed, that they need to check, the users need to check. And display or perform the work. Okay, so if you want to display or if you want to perform the work, that you can do it. So play a sound recording or film class or stage play to parents. Keep any copyright notice attached to the work intact on all copies of the work. So whatever work you are doing it, you need to have the copyright notice along with that work. Okay. And communicate the work, make the work available online, on the school intranet, learning management system, or in a class blog. So everywhere you can share your work. Okay. So indicate and link to the license from any copies of the work. Okay. And next is format shift verbatim copies of the work. Okay. So copy MP3 version of a music onto a CD or MP4 version of a film onto DVD to play in a class. All those things the user can do it. Okay. From one place to another place we can shift it. Okay. From one device to another device. Whenever you make changes to the work, acknowledge the original work and indicate that the changes have been made. Okay. So next is GNU public license, that is general public license. This is also one of the license which is given by the open source initiative uh, organization. That is GNU public license is probably one of the most commonly used licenses for the open source projects. GPL, okay, general public license grants, and that is it is allowing and guarantees a wide range of rights to the developers who work on open source projects. Basically, it allows the users to legally copy, distribute, modify software. That is, user can copy the software as many times as needed. There is no limit to the number of copies one can make, and distribute the software however you want. Okay, there is no restriction of distribution of methods and styles can be copied form or printed form or web link form. Any form they can distribute the copies. Okay, and charge a fee to the distribution of the software. So after modifying the software, you can even charge for your software, explaining why you are charging them, but the software should still be under the GNU GPL alone. Okay, so even you can charge also if you are doing some modification in the existing software and make whatever modifications to the software you want. So you can freely make the any kind of modifications to the GNU GPL software. The only catch is that the other project must also be released under the GPL only. So whatever modifications, if you are making on the existing software, you need to release under the GPL only. Next is third open source initiative license is Apache license. It grants a number of rights to users, and these rights can be applied to both copyrights and patents. The Apache license offers rights are perpetual, that is, once granted you can continue to use them forever. Okay, once the permission is given, you can use it forever. There is no restriction for the time period. Then rights are worldwide. If the rights are granted in one country, then they are granted in all countries. Rights are granted for no fee or royalty. Okay, so there is upfront usage fee, no per usage fee or any other basis either. So upfront usage fee only is there, and no per usage fee. So per minute, per month, like that, there is no usage fee. Okay, rights are non-exclusive. So you are not the sole license person. Other can also use the license to work. Okay, and rights are irrevocable. That means once it is granted, once you have given, no one can take these rights away once they are granted. Okay, redistribution code requires giving proper credit to the contributors to the code, and the same license would remain with the software extension. So same license only, even if the software is extended or changed further, the same license only need to be given for that software. And uh, for a original owner, no, we need to give the credit. Okay, whenever we redistribute the code. Next, the last one under this softwares. Okay, so different types of softwares we have seen: public domain software and versus proprietary software. Okay, so public domain software is a free and can be used without restrictions. The term public domain software, BDS, okay, PDS, that is public domain software, is often used incorrectly to include freeware, free software that is nevertheless copyrighted. So public domain software is by its very nature outside the scope of copyright and licensing. On the contrary, there is a proprietary software which is neither free nor available for public. So this is public domain software. For normally it will be available for every person without fee, also without they can able to run and modify, and then they can redistribute the copies. All those things they can do it. That is under the free software. And a proprietary software, everything they need to get the permission and license they need to obtain, and it is not available for a free of cost. Okay, so they need to pay for the software what they are using it for what if they are using it, they need to pay for the software. Okay, so there is a proper license attached to the proprietary software. User has to buy the license in order to use it. So you can see the diagram. It is originally made by Kaku, uh, that describes the categories of software. Okay, so next is technology and society. So that we will see in the next video: technology and society, how technology is giving impact on the society, and what and all impacts we are having, whether it is negative or positive, that we will see in the next video. Thank you.